Hello folks, so this video is regarding prefix sum. Okay, what is prefix sum? I want to talk about it here. So usually whenever you solve a question in any programming language using a for loop, okay, for loop will have some kind of time complexity. Okay, usually it could be on, it could be log n, it could be n square, it could be n cube or anything, right? Now the more the time complexity, the worst the cases. Okay, so uh, prefix sum helps us to reduce the time complexity of a given solution. Okay, let me take an example for this. Let me take an array of 2 4 5 3 6. Okay, and I'll say the target. Okay, let me just first say the array is this. Okay, and obviously the index will be 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, and I'll say obviously the index is this. Okay, array and the index, just for your ease. Okay, so now the question is, what I'm saying is that you have given two indices, let's say 2 and 4. I want you to find the sum of all elements from index left to right. Okay, sum of all elements from index left to right. So from index 2 to index 4. Okay, which will be 5 plus 3 plus 6, because 2 to 4 we are taking. Okay, so which means 5 plus 3 plus 6 will be equals to 6 7 8 9 10 14, will be equal to 14. Okay, now how will you solve it using uh, using for loop? Okay, so in this scenario you will need a two loops. Okay, so the first loop will be actually you will require a one loop. Okay, but I'll when I go more depth in this question. Okay, when I'll go in depth, you'll understand why we would need on square. Okay, so as of now we just need on, so we will need I is smaller than equals to j, and using this we will add the elements. Okay, that's it. Using this on, this question will be solved. Okay, now consider a scenario where I give you a two-dimensional array. Okay, where the first is 2 4, then the second is 3 4, then the third is 1 2, and the fourth is 0 to 3. Okay, now in this case you will need two for loop, and that too nested. Okay, so uh, so the inner loop will be used to add all the elements, whereas the outer loop is just to get the ij. Okay, so first will loop through this array, and the second will loop through this array. Okay, that's how it will be done. Now if you see, using this you will reach a time complexity of on square. Okay, o n square, which is not good. If you have a array length is greater than 5, okay, or 10 raised to the power 5, let's say 10 raised to the power 5, then it will become 10 raised to the power 10 if we use on square, because on is 10 raised to the power 5. It will become to n 10 raised to the power 10, because 5 into 2 is 10. Okay, so the computer won't be able to execute this time complexity. Okay, so this will be cancelled, this will be bad. Okay, now how can we solve this question? So there is a concept called prefix sum. How do we do that? What do we do in that? Okay, so let me just first copy this and paste it. Yeah, all right. Okay, so let's consider first second one. Okay, 3 and 4. So first, what we will do? What we're gonna do is we're gonna modify the array. Right now, our array looks like this. Okay, after the modification, how does it look like? So we're gonna take the previous element and we're gonna add it to the current element. So 2 has no previous element, so 2 will stay 2. Now 4 has previous element as 2, which means 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay, so we have updated the value to 6. Okay, now 6 plus 5 will be 11. Okay, will be 11, and then uh 6 plus 5 is 11, yeah, and then 11 plus 3 will be 14, and then 14 plus 6 will be 20. Okay, so this is called prefix sum array. Prefix sum array. Okay, we have modified our array. Okay, now our array looks like this, and it is just a sum. We are just creating the sum of all the elements. Okay, we are just adding the values, that's it, if you see. Okay, now once this is done, now this will be done in O(n) time complexity. Okay, because we just have to loop through array once. Now this is done. Now in the next other loop, what we have to do is that we will create another loop, and this won't be nested. Okay, that's why the time complexity is O(n). Okay, and not O(n) square. So in this loop, what we have to do is we just have to do the first part, we did here, right? All we have to do is we have to just add the elements. We don't have to add the elements, basically. We just have to minus it. Let me tell you how. Okay, so you have got the indices. Now the index are, let's say, 3 and 4. Okay, here your index are 3 and 4. What you're going to do is you're going to say that index 4 minus 3 minus 1. Okay, so it will look something like array index 4 minus array 3 minus 1. This will be the answer. Okay, so let's see how this is the answer. So let me just first create the index, obviously. 0 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, all right. Okay, so now your index 4 is 20, so we'll say 20 minus index 2, because 3 minus 1 is 2, it's 11, which will become 9. Okay, now let's see. We are saying we need the sum from index 4 3 to 4. Okay, so index 3 is this 3 and 4 is this, so 6 plus 3 is 9. So if we say 3 6 plus 6, it will comes to 9. Okay, so using this we will get here 9. Okay, the answer will be 9. That's how we're gonna do it. So we have one array, one loop, just to get the prefix sum array, and then another loop which is not nested. That's why the time complexity is O(n), because O(n) plus O(n) is equals to O(n). O(n) into O(n) is O(n) square. Okay, so this loop will be used just to minus the value. So we already have the sum of all the values. We are just going to minus the fourth index minus second index, which will give you the value. Now let's try one more value, which is 0 3. Okay, So if I say 0 3 0 comma 3, which means 3 minus, it will become 3 minus array 0 minus 1. Now this value has become minus 1. Minus 1 array does not exist, so we will ignore this. Okay, we will ignore this part. We just gonna take array 3, so it will be 14. So answer is 14. Now let's verify this. So 2 plus 4 equals to 6. 6 plus 5 is equals to 11. 11 plus 3 is equals to 14. So 14 is equals to 14. Okay, so that's how we're gonna do it. So that's how prefix sum works. It's actually help us to reduce the time complexity. This is the very great technology. This is the very great method actually. If in any interviewer, if you have, let's say if you have given an interview and the interviewer asked you to reduce the time complexity, you can definitely think of this approach along with the sliding window method. If the problem can be executed using prefix sum, then this is a very great approach. Although it might sometime introduce the space complexity if you are not modifying the array. If you don't need to modify the array, if you are creating a new array, you might need to you might suffer from the extra space complexity, but yes, the time complexity will be reduced, and if you modify the array, even the space complexity will be constant. Okay,